Grand Finals of the WardiTV Korean Royale Season 2 begins in the top left corner of Dragon Scales with the red Terran player representing onside. It's Maru. Bottom right, blue Zerg player from Dragon Kaizi Gaming. Dark. Best 7, let's see how this pans out. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what takes place as we get our game underway. We get our action started. Map 1 of this best of 7. Barracks on the low ground. It's been an epic day. It really has been 5 hours straight of playoff action so far. Gonna get rounded out in this best of 7 now. Genuinely excited to see what we kind of get out of this. You never really know what kind of, game's going to be brought into play by Maru. You never really know what he's kind of going to be doing or anything, I just feel like that's quite fun to see as we just have our spawning pool coming up, our extractor on the way, our overlord heading across the map. Just as we get things started here, heading over to the top, trying to see what we can do. See if we can obviously spot some information and try and get some decisions made early, essentially. Overlord coming up. First Marine is going to come out and is going to meet a couple of units over here to begin with, so just going to get that underway. As we have the Overlord taking a few shots, getting shoved up to the top side, and having ourselves the Marines really going after this Overlord. So we are going to get the kill. Maru going to benefit from this. Just the single barracks to start. Road Troran immediately from Dark. Now that's a very fast Road Troran. In fact, that's a very fast Road Troran, so that should be a little bit of aggression for sure. This is not just your friendly. You're going to macro up a little bit. And then again, Maru is now going to drop down the bunker, so he's going to have the bunker on the way. Get that started up, get this going. Let's try and see what will happen here as we get things all set up. Link speed and a few roaches are going to build initially. Obviously get ourselves the roaches, then the lings, and we'll just flood across the map. This is going to be Dark looking to kill Maru off almost immediately, but the bunker should help Maru, and he's got the reactor on the barracks, so you can crank out Marines, and that's obviously going to help as well. Having Marine firepower against the roach style, any sort of a roach attack is going to be kind of shut down a little bit from that, so just see ourselves a couple of Marines popping, get this underway. And again, the first roach is already coming across. First Ravager morphing in also. And all these roaches making their way across the sides. Lings coming up, Ravager on the way. Cloaking coming through. The roaches are going to poke their way up to the high ground in just a couple of moments. The bunkers are there. Yeah, and the bunker going to hold this off quite nicely. Just for a little bit. Now we're going to move forward. In we go as we have ourselves the Lings and Roaches going in. The Corrosive Battle going to land. This bunker is holding for the moment. We're going to start targeting SCVs so we have a bit more DPS against the bunker, or at least enough to kind of break it down and to kill it off. Maru could have maybe target fired the other Ravager in the back. He did not do so. 6 SCVs dead already. Maru on a 9-worker lead. It's extremely important for Dark here that he does game-ending damage because he's very committed. But the Banshee coming now is going to start putting an end to this. Banshee goes after the Ravager. It will fall, so no Corrosive Battles available past this one. And the Roaches are dropping. The Lings are going down. The Roaches are dying. This is a hold from Maru. He is going to convincingly take the start of this series 1-0 in the bottom left-hand corner. Going to start things off with the red Zerg player. Down a map, his all-in not working to start off the series. Now gets to play one of the Zerg maps, though. Let's see what he can do with this. A red Zerg is Dark. In the top right, our blue Terran player from onside. This is Maru. Game number 2, and Maru is going to bring the speed in the second game. He's going to proxy. They don't want to play on each other's map picks, apparently. As Maru is just going to get the 3 racks proxy as well, so full commitment, full send on the proxy barracks on the left-hand side. Barracks 1, 2, and now 3. Man, if he wins with this, I mean, Dark's going to find himself once again in a 2-0 hole. Found his way out of that against Kua, but a very fast 2-0 hole instead of a grueling long one. Obviously a best of 7, so the series isn't on the verge of ending at any moment either. As our barracks all come down, we get this ready. And just having those setting up, rallying down the left. Overlord is going to be checking up over here, and he will go close enough. If he doesn't change the pathing of it, he will get the initial scout. Of course, he will see only 2 racks. He will not go deep enough to see the third. As, yep, 2 SCVs are shown. The third will not be shown. He kind of wants to check, though. That's why he brings the Overlord over here. Well, maybe it's just the best way to get away without losing the Overlord. Aristotle steps forward, but I don't think there's any real scenario where we can do much else. Marines setting up at the front, the bunker getting ready. And, well, we start to put some damage onto this natural hatchery. Yeah, Queen on the way out. The few Lings are coming through. Circling speed coming up as our SCV dives into the main base. Ling speed is continuing to produce. As a few Marines just push their damage onto this hatch for a couple of moments. So Dark is not going to, I mean, building Ling speed as well, I really feel like he needs to defend the low ground, because if you're going to play Lings off of a dead hatchery, you're not going to have the lava to really play with, so I'm not too sure. Okay, he's going to build a Bane Nest as well. I'm still not sure I love it, because like I say, it kind of feels as though you're putting yourself in a spot of trouble just naturally here. Okay, well, let's see. As we see our Marines still going after the hatch, it's going to go down in a moment. You're just not going to have a lot of lava, so whatever you do is going to have to be very powerful and kind of really just one big punch. As we drop a second bunker down, I think Maru realizes that whatever's coming, he just wants to slow it down as much as possible. Whether that's roaches or this Ling Bane, a second bunker to keep things slowed down here and to just keep his units alive initially could make a big difference. He sends both these barracks forwards. Okay, sends one back. I was going to say, I don't think they're both meant to be on the way down to the bottom of the map. Okay, we actually make a bunker wall off, so I guess Banelings, it's going to be good against like Lings, but obviously against Banelings, they can still bust down one bunker, but it really depends which bunker you use the Banelings on. If you use the Banelings on this front bunker, then you're going to have a bad time. Yeah, the Banelings need to bust down the next bunker in the back there. Oh, we got some of the Marines before they swap into a new bunker, so we do get a couple of additional kills at the very least. So that is nice. Queen's still pushing the barracks away. The few Lings hanging out on the high ground. Factory coming up. Command center coming in. And Queen's still putting some damage onto that barracks there just for a little while longer. Lings and Bane setting up on the natural. Marines still going to play around this bunker. Remember that Maru does not have a lot back at home, so if Dark can bust this bunker down and then succeed on the other side... I mean, what does Maru have back at home? Absolutely, he's got no units on the map. He's got one Hellion building, though, so he is going to have a bit of time. Dark will have enough Banelings to bust down 2 depots. He could, I think he's going to morph 4 Banelings and send it. Okay, he actually builds drones, never mind. I actually think it wouldn't be a bad idea to morph 4 Banelings and send it, though. There's nothing here. Morph 4 Banes, you bust down these depots, you got access to the base against 1 Hellion. I actually think that would have been the play. Dark's not going to see it, though. He's not going to realize it in time. He's pulled out of gas, and he's obviously taking not just a natural, but a third hatch as well, as he looks to rebuild off of this opening, which has been obviously fairly disastrous for him, all said and done. Ling's going back down the bottom left. That barracks is going to get dropped down, so that's going to get killed. We have ourselves the one Overlord on the far left side, setting up a little bit as Engineering Bay comes through. The Viking is producing. Engineering Bay is obviously going to give us an upgrade here from Maru. I wonder if Maru plays like a 2-base timing, right? Just very aggressive off these 3 racks, just get a lot of production going and just push before Dark really recovers from what is a much slower start to this game than what he's wanting, with the third hatch and the natural hatchery only just now really finishing at 5.5 minutes. Obviously, Maru's had to fly the barracks back home, but he will get them up now on 2 reactors. Starport built its own reactor as well, which I guess lines up with the fact that he's only just starting stims, so he actually has time to build the Starport's reactor. And that means he has even more chance to produce Marines and really get up to a sizable amount of units, and an amount of units that can really do well. This Viking is going to go Overlord hunting, but I don't think there's any Overlords to hunt. They've all been pulled back. Dark has been pretty cautious. He's really looking to try and make sure Maru has as few options as possible to take edges and leads at this point of the game. That Viking works its way down to the bottom left. We'll be there in a few moments. Marines grab our Zerglings, just going to pick that off. We do have our Viking just patrolling a little bit in the center. Obviously, the last shots from Dark, we're yet to see what he's going to try and do to bust his way back out of this position. Here comes the first medevacs of Marines. Dark, now we kind of point out what Dark has, right? 16 Lings. Obviously, Maru is very close to finishing Stimpack, very close to finishing his +1. Pressure that Maru is going to be able to apply here is starting to look pretty decent as our medevacs come all the way down to the south. The Queens are there to push the Viking back. These Marines will unload, and if nothing else, knocking down some of this group spread, start to push Dark's vision, just presence on the map back in general is generally going to be a good thing, and we do exactly that with the first little push forwards. Starting to get towards that natural. Queens are here, the Marines and the Hellions turn back around. We'll stim once more. Lings are going to come across. And you just lift back into the medevacs to escape away. That's the power of these drops. You can always get away, essentially. You almost always have that kind of get out of jail free card available to you. Marines in the tank coming around. We see the rest of these Marines stimming down. A couple of creep teamers being picked off. Maru building 2 Liberators. That's because he wants to push and keep on pushing. The Liberators are extremely good additions to the push. It's actually crazy how good they are, but without a reliable way to clean them up, they will just last a long time, and they will just constantly chip away at the Zerg unit counts. So, Liberators definitely just shown us for sure that if we didn't figure it out already, I think we did, that Maru is just going to be fully sending it on 2 bases. He's not going to look back towards a third, as the Ling's already looking to catch some reinforcements. Maru is moving forwards. Queen's, of course, pretty tanky to begin with. Maru's going to have to start sending his units across in larger chunks. The Liberators at least don't care about that, as we'll continue to stim in and put some damage on toward this hatchery. Ling's coming up. The Baneling's going to be forcing the Marines to lift away. Now with all the Marines in the sky, maybe the Lings can come in and do something. The Marines unloading in the back there. One of these medevacs not continuing to unload, but I think Dark's taking too much damage. The +1 is good. And once the Banelings disappeared there, the Lings really didn't stand enough of a chance against these Marines. If the Marines are going to get rid of the Baneling, now it's Marines versus Lings and Queens. The tank fire is doing enough. The Liberators do get shot down by the Queens, so at least we push those back. That's one benefit that Dark has. I don't think this game's going to end just yet, but we're still not letting any Banelings connect on Marines. The fighting is very good for Maru. Dark's about to have 1-1, but that's just too late to have an impact. This next tank sieges up nice and far forward. Make sure we can reach the Banelings as necessary. This third hatchery is going to die, and Dark is going to give it up. He will evacuate. He does have the base on the bottom side setting up. Maru wastes no time. Unsieges, rotates. He knows where he's got to go to. We'll still have to continue to dodge Banelings here, though. So we'll have to be careful of those, but obviously he's off creep if he pulls us back there. He doesn't even need the siege tank splash. He would be good without it as our Marines come over. Queen's going to start taking damage. The Banes are going to turn into these Marines. First front line of Marines taking damage. One tank goes down in the back. Dark still fighting for every scrap he can find. Against this army, Maru's about to even out upgrades with his +1 armor upgrade completing, so no more edge for Dark, which has been there for the last fight or so, maybe 2. Maru building his third base on location, knows Dark doesn't have the time to establish a counter-attack to deny it building on position, so Maru takes that advantage. Again, a couple of Banelings, is it going to be enough? The Banes on the bottom side, once they get off creep, they just don't have the speed, and the Queens are... I was going to say they're not going to knock a tank down, and they don't! It survived before Dark did! It was still alive when Dark left the game, I wasn't wrong! Yeah, you gotta take your victories, guys, even 3 starting up. In the top left-hand side of the map, it is going to be our red Zerg player, down by 2! Can he bounce back? Can he draw himself back into this series? The red Zerg player! Let's send him some energy, guys. Let's get a map on the side of our Zerg Dark in this grand finals. Bottom right, our blue Terran from onside. 2-0 lead, looking confident, looking good. This is Maru. Thank you for joining us again today so far here in the WardiTV Korean Royale. Good to see you all. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you guys. I do just want to make, again, a quick shout out. If you're watching this on YouTube, our finals of our Korean Royale, and you've been enjoying all the content we've been putting up, I haven't mentioned the YouTube channel in a video for a long time. But if you're enjoying it and you're enjoying this series, do consider liking and subscribing. And even leaving a comment down below. I don't do this a lot. I don't ask for the things, but they do generally help. So if you are watching this one on YouTube, do the things that help us to reach more people and all of that goodness. Get more views on the video, get more views on this grand final. And I was just going to say, a very minor sellout as we have a very normal start of this game, Hatch Gas Pool, versus the High Ground Reaper expand. Well, High Ground Reaper into High Ground Barracks, Reaper, and then an expand. As I'm going to mention, check out your Prime subs, guys. Tom Chili just dropped the Prime in the chat. Thank you so much. If you got a Prime available, it's free to subscribe. Do it. Helps us out. Every time you subscribe, we take $1 or more and put it into a WardiTV tournament prize pool, so you can directly support the tournaments that we run here on the channel. Of course, that is true if you gift subs or if you subscribe regularly as well. So TLDR, you enjoy the content, you can subscribe to help it. Thank you so much if you choose to do so. As our SCV scout, just checking, confirming it's a hatchery first, so not a pool first. Good information to have. And now we have ourselves the Reaper making its way up to the top, heading into the natural in a couple of moments. We do actually block that drone from becoming a hatchery there, so that's going to be a slight annoyance. Dark going to have to figure that one out as Maru comes up this high ground and a couple of shots on these lings. Just going to take some hits as we see our third CC getting set up as well. Getting some man center number 3 on the way, getting that one building. Comes back around the edge. SCV still nibbling on the extractor. And the Reaper just pulling back through the center of the map, heading down to the other side. And a couple of SCVs still building up as our Ling's coming around. Command center is finishing. And our Marines just going to be able to pick off those Lings as well, as Reaper and the Marine together, going to continue to gather up. Reaper is going to move back to the front just for a few moments. Again, Ling speed, Queens, drones, all coming through for the moment. Thanks so much, Nomadics, for the 100 bits, doing some very interesting name math in the chat. You can call it that, name math. Thank you for the 100 bits, appreciate it, as a few Marines still pouring out of this barracks here, reactor obviously pumping. And again, circling speed already halfway done with that stim pack setting up as well. Maru getting that underway. And these couple of Queens of Dark just sticking around the front. Group spread coming through, the Marines are on the way, the engineering bay is building, refinery coming through too. And we now take our gas on the low ground. Very standard, just 3cc build from Maru. Really nothing. I mean, such a vanilla build. It's almost a well, it's almost a shocking build. In the modern day TvZ, there's almost always something weird or different or funky. I guess in this case we've just skipped Hellions, right? We've gone kind of 3-Rex. Okay, I take it back. Without a factory and it being 3-Rex just straight up, I guess it is a bit different, but yeah, I guess just what I say is not a lot happening, but I guess that's because we have no factory. I guess that's why it's weird. So, yeah, it's definitely a little bit strange. Thank you so much, Wonder Walrus. 2-month resub on the Prime. Let's go, Maru. Turning on our Terran play here. 2-0 in the lead, definitely doing well for himself so far. As Marines make their way to the middle of the map. A few Lings, cocking on some rocks. Lara's on the way up. Just got ourselves the Marines coming across. The factory getting going. Stimpack, combat shield. 1-1 upgrades all coming through. And the scan just revealing a few units. We have ourselves the troop spread continuing to press forwards. And the Lings work their way out around over to the far right hand side. They're playing the new patch or old patch? Still old patch. Yeah, I guess I haven't addressed this, but during the games of the finals. But as of right now, even though the patch is live on North America, it's not live on Korea. So as long as the patch isn't live on Korea, we've just been playing, obviously, what is essentially the current patch on this server. With all these matches happening on Korea, it didn't make sense to kind of force players to play off server or anything. So yeah, for us, it was just easy to be consistent and play old patch. And like I said a couple times, I kind of like because consistency kind of works for the rest of the tournament. Being old patch the entire tournament, I don't mind playing the entire the playoffs on the old patch if the entire rest of the tournament's been old patch too, you know. So yeah, just down to that because we've got new people joining all the time. You might have heard 100 times the last couple of days, but yeah, we'll see. New people joining all the time as we make our way throughout these games. Currently 6.5 minutes in on Babylon, and seeing Dark just playing melee upgrades, a Baneling speed, and an infestation pit, so heading in towards Ling Bane. And Dark is a terrifying Ling Bane player. I remember, was it Bjorn that said it? I don't know if it was Bjorn or Maru. One of the top Terrans said it. They were like, yeah, you know, the scariest thing Dark can do is play Ling Bane. So I'm really thankful that he plays all these weird roach builds instead. It's kind of true. I mean, I remember when Clem was on that ridiculous TvZ streak, and then Dark stepped up in TSL best 7 and beat him. And that was really just with some solid Ling Bane play. Like, this man can play some really good, fast, action-paced TvZ if he needs to. He just likes the roach stuff. As we actually dive in here with these Lings, Maru's army is coming out from the natural. Is not quite here yet, and he'll come over now. As we knocked down one Overlord already. Push that away. Okay, I mean, that for a moment looked scary, but Maru gets there. He does defend. He does block it off and push it back. Hey, Clash with Cheese, thank you so much for the 4-month resub on the Prime as well. As Maru is going to dive up. He's going to get a couple of Banelings cancelled. And he lifts up whatever Marines he can as he backs away from that Ling surround. Not much to obviously stick around for there. Just backs it up, pulls it away. But we're coming up here on the side of Dark, and the Ling Bane is still moving around the map. Just for the moment. As our Marines stem across, a couple creep teamers go down. Our Medivacs will load up those Marines and just bring them back out towards the front of those rocks. We knock down one more creep teamer. Tank still firing. Ling still taking damage. Another creep teamer going down as we stem forward now and get rid of more of this creep spread. So a bunch more creep getting cleaned out. The Medivacs load up. Gonna go boosting up to the top side. Again, creep just coming through the center here. Burrow coming up. Adrenal glands, 2-2 upgrades. All of that being built on in as our Medivacs continue to go one way, then the other, slipping and dipping and diving and jiving. You name it, them Medivacs are doing it as Ling Bane sets up on the bottom. Get a little afraid for Maru pushing forward here. This big old 8 racks attack, really committing to 3 bases. I feel like Dark is, well, A is going to counterattack and perhaps do well. B could potentially flank this, and I feel like Dark's army is huge. Now, Maru just have 2-2 upgrade lead, and Dark's army isn't really that much bigger than Maru's. It's just got so much Ling Bane. Actually, Ling Bane, pure Ling Bane and fast ultras is usually, it used to be at least, one of the better ways of dealing with these 8 racks pushes, because you just have the swarminess to deal with the number of units of the Terran, and on top of that, you have kind of the fast ultras. There's not really much of an answer to them as long as you get to them. And you see a few more Banes going off. There's burrowed Banelings here, by the way. If Dark can force a higher group of Marines to come through this passage. Nope, he's just going to take those. That will be enough for him for the moment. Knock some more down. Maru not having a good time over on this side. 22 SCVs killed, and what's he done? Poked forward, being pushed back. Not really utilizing his 2-2 upgrades, that's for sure. And again, time is ticking towards those Ultras. Kindness playing starts. Dark dives onto this army. Oh, it's a lot of Marines with an upgrade lead. Can the Banelings help out enough? As Maru kind of stands and fights, splitting backwards as necessary. It's just so many Zerglings. Never mind the upgrades. Dark is still able to do very well for himself. 40 supply lead coming out of this. Maybe if Dark hadn't done the damage on this third, that wouldn't have been so doable and so acceptable. But as it stands, it actually turns out to be pretty okay. Our Marines unload on from these Medivacs. And Lings and our Queens regather in the center. And again, a couple of Vipers coming up with the Ultras in production as well. Dark definitely taking control of this game 3. Dark looking to give us a finals as he looks to tie this. Oh, why do I keep wanting to say tie this series up? Take a map in this series. That's what he wants to do. Get started in this series. Not let Maru get too far away with the games. And the game after this should be altitude as well, I believe. So then Dark has perhaps the best Zerg map of the map pool to play for himself as well, so can absolutely try and take advantage of that, and maybe just then he would tie the series up if he's able to win that map. You can argue that altitude oftentimes should be the first map pick of a Zerg in a series, so, you know, even though he lost Ancient, maybe wasn't his most preferred map, so it's not as doom and gloom as it might have been based on how that map pick's actually panned out and our expectations. 11 Marines producing through. The 3-3 upgrades are coming up. The medevacs are going to dive into this main base as a couple of Marines start to unload. Parasitic bombs go out, and those medevacs are going to get pushed away up through the top side. As the parasitic bombs fade away, our Marines will continue all the way over to the right side. 3-3 upgrades coming up on the engineering base, and our Marines are just going to come through, going after the rest of this creep spread. We're obviously trying to clean up the map. Now, we might try and play very turtly. I mean, he's got two options. He's either going to send it with one more big final push. Now, I guess if he was going to play turtly, he would have started 4th base already and just try to get away with it. So I think Maru's just going to try and play one big final push. Obviously, Maru's the king of turtling up in bad positions, so that maybe was an option for him, but I think he's just going to send it. I think he's just going to try and win this one more time. If Dark can defend, then we'll probably have ourselves a victory for our Zerg. Marines load back into those medevacs. The Lings get over there to push them back. Ultras still popping through. The 3-3 melee upgrades coming out. And Bane in production. Extra Banes as well in the center. There's a few Marines just nibble at the edge of the Lings. Obviously, Maru trying to be annoying. And I wonder what would trigger Dark to fight specifically. Maybe these Vipers being over here. I don't know what would trigger him to fight. I mean, I guess he doesn't need to unless Maru moves out. So I guess, yeah, nothing really triggers Dark to fight. He just waits. Maru is going to max soon, and like I say, maybe just goes... Yeah, he's got to go for one fight. He would have had a 4th base otherwise. Now it's just a question of picking exactly when you start this push. He's finishing 3-3, which I guess is a pretty good time to do it. So otherwise, the only other thing you wait for is maybe fully maxing out, which... I mean, then you're just giving the Zerg more time to build up a bank to rebuild during the games. Yeah, but where do you go? I mean, there's almost no good answer here. Dark's just set up to catch you. Whichever direction you move out in, Dark is kind of there. He's off to this right side. He's over to the top. He's on the bottom left. Let's see, there's a couple of burrowed banelings get connections on that ramp already. So a few Marines going down already. Parasitic Bomb's going to chip their way through some of the air units. Dark's just going to counterattack in. Now, Maru's close enough where he can justify turning back around and coming home to deal with this, but you're already going to lose a ton of SCVs. These Banes are going to turn around. They could maybe just run into the arm. He's going to decide not to. He doesn't like it in the end, but I mean, more SCVs are still going down. Now, we actually do start turning back around, but obviously this is maybe not where Dark wants to trade because he's going to be trading into the choke points. Maru left a bit of a sieged army out in the center. We actually burrow some Lings in the main as well if Maru wasn't paying full attention. Then those units can pop back up for some point for Dark and do very well. I don't think it really matters. I think realistically Dark has what he needs to clean this out. Viper will go down, dropping one more parasitic bomb. Our 3rd base is straight up dead. And Maru just has to go. I mean, Dark will continue with the counterattack. The Lings pop back up in the main base. He's all over Maru in this game. As this push forward from Maru. Coming through the center. Tanks and Liberators firing. Units from the bottom side coming across. Our Lings wrapping around every which way they can. And Dark is going to take game 3 of this best of 7. Our grand finals will go on. We will not be done just yet. As Maru taps away, and Dark will take his first map of this series. Dark is going to be playing in this. Means that once more we are going to have ourselves in the top left, our Red Terran, not quite yet playing on the worst map for them in the map pool. It is Maru up against the bottom right, Blue Zerg, Dark. No proxies, just a low ground barracks to start us off. Maru, well, when this map pool first came around, when they started doing these Reapers, it was always on Grezvan. Gonna do it one more time. After today, I don't imagine there's gonna be anything that uses these old maps anymore, so I guess as we move through this finals, this is the last time we're casting each of these games, guys. Last time we're casting each of these games. Oh, each of these maps. Now, Grezvan's given us some great games, some long ones, some Very kind of macro-y, kind of drawn-out turtley games, you could say, but it's been very entertaining. I've actually really liked this map pool. I feel like a lot of I don't feel like there's been a standout, like, bad map in this map pool. Like in TvZ, people don't want to play altitude, but it gets love in other matchups. It's been, honestly, I think one of the best map pools we've had in a long time in StarCraft 2. It's been a really solid set of maps for the last few months. Overlord is coming out over the far top left-hand side. Marine on the way up, commands into building. So it's not going to be the Reapers here from Maru, it's just going to be the Marine. He wants to kill this Overlord. That's the plan. That's what he's aiming for in these early stages, looking to take an edge early. Let's try and knock Dark into a little bit of insecurity about the setup. This Marine will walk straight forward. He sees it. Yep, he's going to get you. So a couple of Marines will begin the barracks loading. There's going to be no high ground hiding here at all. Overlord goes down, the barracks is going to drop in, the reactor is building. A factory coming through, the couple of queens building up. Got ourselves going in this game number 4. There's a hatchery built on the right-hand side. Everything pretty standard then with that Overlord going down. It's not unusual. This is something the Terrans do sometimes. Hey, Rusty Shack, thank you so much for the 100 bits. When do we get this Korean patch? Looks a lot better than 5.0.12. Yeah, about that. About that. Definitely a, definitely an interesting question. I actually really do wonder when we're going to get ourselves the actual patch on Korea and Europe. I really do hope it's tomorrow. I mean, otherwise, tournaments are actually going to have to start hosting games with the mod constantly, basically. Queens, Lings coming up the right side, a single Zergling up the top, moving around a little bit. Banshee and the Cloak coming out, the Link Speed and the Queens all coming through. Marines just coming around, then as the Zergling moves back around to the bottom. Just for a little bit here. Cloak, Stim, Banshee. These couple of Zerglings still moving around as well as that Queen sets up on that right-hand side. The Link Speed's about halfway done. Stimpack and Marines and the Banshee and the Cloak. All the good stuff is being built for the moment. There's that Banshee popping out of the starport. Gonna begin heading down to the bottom side of the map then. Away we go. Pretty slow going game again, right? Yeah, it's so funny how many of these games nowadays just don't have Hellions in TvZ. I've said this a lot the last few weeks, but so many of these games are just sticking to the Marine-based production, and it's all come after this kind of Reaper phase, right? Like, and you know, the Reapers into Marines kind of made sense, but doing these builds that don't even go through the Reapers and then just skipping Hellions, it's wild that something has been, something that has been so consistent over years of TvZ is now just not being used at all. It's really wild. I mean, I guess not at all is an overstatement. You know, we still are seeing Hellions, but so many of these builds are Marines and the Reapers and just anything but Hellions. It's wild. 2 barracks build up on the main base here, so we are going to get ourselves to 5 barracks. Notably, no 3rd command center, guys, so Maru looking as though he wants to 2-base all in against Dark in game number 4. Not interested in playing a long game, apparently. Naturally, if you kind of play, you know, macro on this map, you can expect it to kind of get drawn out, go to a longer game. Maru doesn't want to deal with that. He wants to 2-base it. He wants to send it. He wants to try and take himself into an advantage and maybe even match point with a quick bit of aggression. Single engineering bay, also a good sign that this is likely going to be a 2 base all in, although the 5 racks absolutely secures that idea anyways. Just other things you can look for. Zero, thank you so much, Manifix, for the 201 bits. Thank you. As our Marines dive onto this hatchery. Queen's coming over. The Lings are there. They go back and forth a little bit. Dark getting into his infestation pit. The Balin speed's starting too. He's again going to be on kind of pretty Ling Bane heavy stuff. But is he going to be prepared for the 2 base timing compared to the earlier 3 base? Now, he doesn't have Scout. He's never seen the main base. And obviously, because Maru built just purely Marines from the start, he's got a few more Marines to hit with when he does hit. This Ling right now is going to start realizing, hey, why don't we have ourselves a 3rd? Like, what's going on there? These extra 8 drones might be a little bit of a mistake. They might be quite costly. Maru going to start positioning himself onto this 4th base. That's going to be the first point of attack for him. Try and break his way down onto this position. As our Marines coming over, the hatchery taking damage. Massive counterattack from Dark, but Maru is walled in behind a natural. Dark ain't finding anything there, as his 4th base will go down, so that's 1 hatchery dealt with already. Maru and Siege just the tank, not going to let any friendly fire versus Broodlings happen. Dreamers in the center going to start getting knocked down, so we pick our way through these. Both Creep Dreamers get knocked down, in fact, as the Ling Bane runs up the left-hand side, and still just having Marines and tanks coming across. Big push here from Maru, heading down the bottom right-hand corner. Melee upgrades coming up, Bane Speed and Burrow coming up. These units are going to jump onto this hatchery, start to work our way through this. Lings are going to jump onto the reactor on the other side. And we do have ourselves this push really just going. I mean, yeah, Dark's going to get into the main base, so Maru's going to lose everything over here. He needs to win the game with this attack. I mean, Maru commits a lot on the other side. These tanks need to target fire Banelings. We do get a few of them right now. Is there enough Marines? There is a lot of Marines. I don't think Dark has the numbers to hold on, guys. He's trying to get to Burrow. Could be very interesting, especially if Maru has no orbital. But what's he going to burrow? There's no Banelings. Okay, there's 11 Banelings on the map. They're up to the top. Well, Maru's going to find these morphing Banelings as the Queens are going to move forward, look to get rid of a couple of siege tanks. Maru's going to take that as a chance to come back over, kill off a couple of those. So there's going to be a few Banes from either side then. This is going to be what it comes down to, as these tanks have work to do. Can they knock down enough Banelings for Maru to have the Marines left over once again? I think so. 58 to 28 army supply. Maru's even at the point of reinforcing from across the map again. Marines get into this mineral line. Drones taking damage. Zergling's still taking shots. Now, these Queens are not going to make the difference, and Maru is going to be able to get it done. Dog's trying to build an Ultra Cavern. Like, if you could sneak a couple of Ultras out, there might be a way, right? But, like, surely by then we're already dead. I mean, you got to get the Ultra Cavern finished, and then you got to actually afford an Ultra as well, which I guess he does have money, Dog. It's just that these Marines are getting so much done every time. The tank drops to block the Lings a little bit. Still reinforcements trying to come over, and the siege tank there getting caught. So Maru not having the perfect time. Where's the Ultra Cavern at? It's up in the main base. How many Ultras are we going to build? Is there actually any way, shape, or form? I mean, these Ultras are going to be on 1-1 upgrades, so it's not like they're crazily upgraded. They're not going to have chitinous plating either. Maru's got to be wondering, what is Dark waiting for? What is he trying to do here? Ultras are going to spawn on 2 different bases, one in the main, one in the top right. Possibility for Maru to catch them kind of separated as Dark relocates a couple spores. 60 drones, but not really the basis to utilize 60 drones, as Maru can gain reinforcements now with medevacs so they can lift up should they get attacked halfway across the map. We dive into this main base where we are going to start working our way through the hatchery. He hasn't seen the Ultra Cavern still in the background. He's about to see it. 4 Ultras are actually building, guys. Maru sees the Ultra Cavern, and Maru might start to realize, whoa, hold on a second. What's this all about? Tanks just died on the low ground as well. Here's the first Ultra popping out. Maru will just target fire it. I actually think he could have just killed it. It's scary because it's right next to your units, but again, it doesn't have chitinous. Dark's now going to try and get some infestors. He is really going to try and keep himself in this, as Maru's still playing on the top side as well. Really wants to try and get that hive, but is so far unable to get there. Pushing through some creep spread, pushing forward. Again, Maru trying to control these 2 different armies, these 2 different, well, drops essentially. That's just the size of them. They ain't super large. Base will start to go down. Dark is on 4 Ultras, 11 Lings, and, well, a few Infestors building up as well. We've got 2 out, 2 still building. New Banelin nest about to pop as Dark will lose this hatchery. He's double expanding onto his natural and 3rd. He's really going to have absolutely no mining here in a second, and Maru It's still mine a little bit off the 2 bases which he has up, right? That's the big difference. And Maru will actually have some income where Dark does not. You can see Maru trickling income into the income lead currently. Obviously, we're a good fungal away, though, from maybe still having a chance here as Dark. These Marines, still step against these Ultras. How well can we do? Decently. Adrenal Gland starts because the Hive is still alive, and Dark is somehow making a game of this. Maru, again, his economy is, again, definitely not pretty. A couple of Liberators are huge. That's something you don't get rid of easily here as Dark, actually. Especially because we lost all of the Queens. He doesn't have a Queen on the map. The only thing that shoots up is Pathogen Glands. He only has Pathogen Glands. Not Pathogen Glands. Fungal Growth. Oh my god! Talk about Fungal Growth! Did someone just ask for that? The one Spore Crawler, by the way, is also, I guess, the Mantia that we have. Knock down this base, instantly cancelled. Tanks are sieging, Liberators are setting up. I just don't think you can justify running the Ultras through those Liberators. Here we go, Fungals are going to drop the Infest. The Liberators were out of position. The Ultras are going to go down. I just don't think it's enough from Dark. A valiant effort. I mean, he really tried something that should have been straight up impossible. And maybe it was impossible, but he made us kind of believe. He made us actually consider what was going on there. Like, he made us think, can this happen? Very nearly it could have done. Maru just about gets it through in the end. Why not? As we have in the top right corner of the map, our blue Zerg player representing Dragon, Kaizi Gaming. This is Dark. He now has to win 3 in a row to take down the Red Terran. In the bottom left, King of Korea on sides Maru. He went to 7 games last season against Hero, and he did lose out in 7 games. He's hoping to rectify that this season. Thank you so much, Dave Desta, for 100 bits, and Wowza TV for the Prime sub as well. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Hype train initiated as our barracks drops down. And are we just going to go for the single rack? Looks like a second rack this time. He just clicked a second SCV down here, so we're going to go to the Reapers for game number 5. Again, been mixing it up throughout this series with the builds. Maru doing a whole bunch of different things. Zaro91, thank you so much. 3-month resub, always the best casting. Thank you so much for the kind words. Glad you're enjoying. Thank you for supporting the tournament and the streams with your sub. Thank you so much. Couple barracks still coming through. Hatch gas and pool in production. We have ourselves the Overlord of Dark making its way to the bottom left-hand side. Obviously, we'll see that this is 2 racks opening here in just a couple of moments, guys. And we'll be able to start responding from that and figuring out just what it is he would like to do in these next few moments. So an option there for Dark. We'll figure out what he wants to get done. Now, a couple of Reapers starting to build. Go Sybil7, thank you so much for the 3-month resub as well. SCG best game all time. Thanks for the entertainment over the years. Thank you so much for supporting it. And here's to many more years of SC2 entertainment. Queens, Lings, and a Ling Speed all coming up on the side of Dark. A couple of Reapers are coming out. Our command center about to be on the way on the natural. We nearly get a drone initially. This Reaper very nearly catching that. Choo-choo, Remy. Thank you so much for the 4-month resub as well. Welcome back. Thank you. You guys are really choo-chooing through the hype train. Thank you so much. Reaper comes back up to the top. Gonna nibble at that 3rd hatchery. Kooky gonna drop the 7-month resub as well. It's a real hype train as well. Everyone's getting involved. It's not just like, a bunch of gifted subs. We just one at a time. Bam, bam, bam. Subtrain to the infinity or so. Thank you so much, guys. Again, really appreciate all the support. You guys make these tournaments possible. We love being here. Love casting these events. Love running these events. Another tournament going to be wrapped up. Maybe at the end of this game, should Maru find victory on Royal Blood. Don't tell me he's going to get a cancel on the 3rd with 3 Reapers. Now, yes, he built 5 Reapers, but it was basically with 3 Reapers. Like, the 4th Reaper showing up got 1 shot off. That basically made no difference. The Lings on the other side, they do force a cancel on the add-ons initially, so Maru just cancels those. We will have these Reapers continue to move down to the bottom as our few Lings move out over to the right-hand side. It's going going to back away. Sorry, guys. The game's stuttering because the hype train is lagging my PC for some reason. This is pretty bad for Dark. I mean, 5 Reapers is kind of maybe meant to get the cancel, but like I say, he almost got it cancelled too soon. Too easily, you know? Corner76, thank you so much. Fresh new subscription. Nerla10, thank you so much for the 101 bits on your first ever chat in the stream. Thank you so much for the generosity. Appreciate it. As our Reapers dive into the main, gonna go for a drone. Uh-oh. This is bad for Maru. He's gonna lose these Reapers and get what? 1 drone? 2? Ooh, that's your map control just disappearing. Don't get me wrong, they were good before now as well, but... Oof. Impact 1-1 coming in. We got our Lings heading back down the bottom left as I'm just going to go towards our Stimpack upgrades. Just going to go jump straight on top of that one. It's actually denied, so that is nice from Dark. And that's kind of the cost of losing the Reapers. These Lings have the freedom to come across the map, so a consequence of Maru being a little bit not good enough with the Reapers, like I say. Was it worth those 2 drones? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 1-1 continues up. Starport on the way. Factory building a reactor. We have a few extra drones still coming through. The creep spread is pushing in. A couple of Evo chambers will go down. Just seeing these little bit of creep chambers. Oh, these few creep chambers still pushing forward. The Evo chambers coming up in the main now from Dark as well. Worth noting that this is 5:30 and we haven't had a lair, and only just now the Evo chamber is coming online. Dark's tech is in a pretty bad place, actually. Are you very late compared to usual? It's actually pretty rough for him, as see the couple of Lings still moving around. The Marine's coming over. Orbital is going to get landed down in position over here. Barracks, armory building up against Impact and 1-1 all building through. We got the Ling on the bottom side from Dark going to go patrolling a little. And the Ling on the left-hand side going to patrol around a little bit also. As our Queens coming up around the top. Just going to see a little bit more creep spread pushing forwards. As our medevac will go boosting forward of mines. Going out onto the upper right-hand side. Well, those things are going to go jump onto the rocks, and as the rocks take some shots, we'll see the Widow Mine drop coming in. Let's see if Maru can find anything. We're going to start a Spore Crawler here. We do have an armory, so these mines will be cloaked, so the Spore is necessary. Just going to see the drones splitting up. We're going to do a little bit of unloading and reloading. We're going to try and drop this mine, or are we? We're going to keep it in the medevac for a little while longer. It's going to be low. These Lings are still chasing. They know there's potential for one more mine in here. Dark can count to 4, guys. I know, Zerg players counting. Usually it's not a thing, but this time it is, keep retargeting to just buy a little bit more time. In the end, this drone will go down. So 1 drone per Widow Mine. The medevac gets out alive, mind you, and he killed a bit of, killed off a bit of mining time and everything as well. Maru taking his 3rd base position. Thank you so much, Numpty NYC, for the prime sub. Mills dropping down on his 3rd base as Maru gets established. I will say, though, no map control is leading to a lot of creep spread coming out, as Maru is actually building some helibats off the factory. Interesting. Very interesting. What's the deal with that then? Infestation pit finishing up. Yo, Level! Thank you so much for the big donation. That's our 3rd Make It Rain of the stream. Holy crap. Thank you so much for the generosity, mate. Again, donations are going towards Korean Royale Season 3, so thank you so much for your generosity. Choo-choo! Mother Trucker, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Joining the hype train via donation. Twitch don't count it, but I do. That's like a level 7 hype train now for sure. As our Marines coming across, the Lings are going to get hit. A few Banes coming over, and just seeing that Creep Doomers still taking a couple more shots. Maru, I really do feel like needs to start pushing back some of this creep spread, right? So I think that's kind of the goal, but yeah, just kind of flying around here. Dark's going to hit a Hydra Den, something we've not seen before now from him, so yeah, just getting that rolling. There's a few Marines unloading once again, just dropping these down in the center. These medevacs unloading, and we're not going to have our Marines pushing back up into the center here. A couple creep jimmers go down. Our Queens get pushed back. Hatchery will go down now, and just seeing ourselves the continued push forward. Marines and Marauders still attacking through. As our Bioforce will sit here. Some more Banelings dropping in. Man, this push from Maru. 2-2 to 1-1, by the way. Where did the supply come from? Why is Dark just down? I mean, Maru doesn't even care about creep if he just fights in to win the game. Marauders to try and tank the Banelings. The Banelings trying to make it through, but the 2-2 upgrades mean that Maru is just rampaging. Maru wins the Korean Royale. Where did it come from? Oh, I gotta rewind this, guys. He just showed up with 30 more supply. Am I crazy? At this point, Dark's already down. Resources lost is even. Maru's just had a lot of lost mining time forced. I think he just forced so much lost mining time with drones pulling away from mineral lines. And Dark is just not catching up in time, no? Like resources lost is even. It's just this income graph. Maru's controlled the income the entire game. And as a Terran, that's pretty sick. Nothing really happened. And so I wasn't really ready for Maru to be 40 supply ahead when he shows up. After he lost the Reapers and everything. Obviously, he's committed to the 3 bases. And he was building Hellbats. So he wasn't really committed to this attack. Like, this is a 3-base push. That I'm not surprised about. That we knew. I didn't think he was going to show up that much supply ahead. And 2-2 upgrades. I did note that Dark's tech was kind of late earlier. I think that early game actually threw Dark off a lot more than we give credit for. That third hatch did get cancelled, remember? Yeah, I think the early game with Dark did got thrown off heavily. It just felt like he did. It felt like he got back in.